So we've all had that experience. We make a beat, we think it's great, but when we listen back to it the next day, we just hear an atrocity. I want to talk about why I believe this is happening, and more importantly, what changes I personally made so this happens to me far less now, and hopefully it will happen to you far less as well after you watch this video. First, I want to walk through why I think this is happening. Most likely you sit at your computer, you'll start to play around with different sounds, you'll listen through different loops maybe, and eventually you'll come across a sound or a loop or something that produces some idea in your head for what type of beat you could potentially make. With this idea in your head, you now have a goal, some general direction that you're heading towards, and so you start building your beat in that direction. Now this is where I think the problem occurs. As you're building your beat, ideally you think you're getting an accurate representation of what you're building. After all, you're hearing your creation being played through your speakers. But if this was actually true, we wouldn't get caught off guard the next day with how bad our beat actually ends up being. I think something else is happening here. I think fundamentally we aren't actually hearing an accurate representation of what we're building. Instead, what I think often happens is that we're caught in this strange feedback loop where instead of hearing our beat objectively through our speakers, we're actually just hearing that idea that's in our head. We're still thinking about that pure idea for how we want the beat to sound. Instead of hearing the actual beat playing through our speakers externally, we're hearing the idea internally in our own head. And I believe this can lead to a lot of bad beats because somewhere along the beat making process, you might have accidentally made a mistake. You may have played the wrong note, you may have chosen a bad sound, but you didn't actually hear your mistake. You're still hearing that great, beautiful, pure idea that you have in your head cycling over and over. And then the next day when that idea is finally gone and you wake up and you excitedly rush over your computer to finally listen back to your beautiful beat that at that point you vaguely remember, that's when you finally hear your beat objectively for what it is and how bad it might be. Now this is something that used to happen to me really often, and I decided eventually to try something different. I want to say I'm not guaranteeing this will work, but it's just something that you can try. Basically, as simple as it sounds, I just forcibly remove the idea from my head during the beat making process. To explain this further, what my beat making process looks like now is that I'll find some sound or loop or something that creates that initial idea like I talked about, then I go pursue building that idea. Eventually though, I'll end up hitting some creative wall. I'm sure this is yet another experience that you faced. You feel like you've got all your ideas down in your project, but the beat still doesn't feel complete, yet you have no other ideas that you can try out. Personally, when I get to this point, instead of just sitting there struggling for hours and hours trying to build the beat in different ways, what I do at that point is I just walk away. I'll go and do something else for 10-20 minutes. I might go watch some TV, I might do some chores. I might finally go and decide to eat lunch hours after I was supposed to. I do whatever I can to get that idea out of my head and basically forget what I've made. If I can still hear that idea looping in my head, I just wait even longer. And once I've forgotten that idea, at that point I go back to listen to what I've built, and this is when I finally get a more objective listening experience. I finally hear the beat for what it is, and this is extremely helpful for a few different reasons. Obviously, for one, you're finally hearing your actual beat. This will allow you to address some mistakes that you might have made and fix the beat if need be. But I also use this as a way to gauge whether I still even like the idea. Part of the reason why your beat might sound bad the next day is that fundamentally the idea itself might have just sucked. So if I play the beat back and I don't like the idea, at that point I just delete the project and I move on. Now how I determine whether I do like the idea and if I want to continue building it is if more ideas end up popping into my head. If I replay the beat and all of a sudden I get a huge wave of new ideas, just like I got when I first found that initial sound or loop, and I get excited all over again, then at that point I continue on with building the beat and I try out those new ideas. And eventually what happens is I hit yet another wall. At that point I just walk away and wait once again. I probably repeat this cycle a few times for every beat that I make. And so using this process, it's allowed me to better identify good ideas from bad ones. It helps me generate enough ideas to actually finish beats. It's helped me save a lot of time not working on flawed beats. It's just been a great tool all around for me. Hopefully it can be something that helps you too. Give it a shot, maybe it can help you with your workflow. I just thought I would share what's worked for me. If you've enjoyed this video, like and subscribe. If you sort of like this beat making advice content, let me know in the comment section below. Head over to betterbeatmaker.com if you want to check out my full online beat making course. The link to my free drum kit is available in the description box below, as well as the link to the Discord if you want to join my producer community. I'll see you guys next time.